LSU made a little announcement today in conjunction with Southern Methodist University. Two schools announced a home and home on the football schedules for 2028 and 2029. SMU will come to Baton Rouge in 2028 for a season opening game, and LSU will make the return trip to Dallas to actually play on campus at SMU. Of course, she could technically, I guess, go and play in the Cotton Bowl or certainly in Jerry World, but LSU will play SMU on campus up there in Dallas in 2029 on opening weekend. Here are my thoughts on this. I think y'all know my scheduling philosophy, right? Like, I don't feel like an SEC team needs to be making life miserable for itself in the non-conference. I think that that's great for fan interest. It's great in terms of promoting your brand. You get a lot of eyeballs, and you give yourself an opportunity if you do that, but you also present what I would consider unnecessary challenges when you do that, which is what I've said for months about this Clemson game coming up. I just wouldn't do that. You do have a rule from the SEC office over in Birmingham that says you've got to play a Power 4 opponent out of conference every year. Okay, that's fine. Make everybody play by the same rules. That's okay. These are the kind of phone calls I would be making. And I know SMU was in the playoff last year. Absolutely. And when I think SMU, I think about the story that Ross Dellinger wrote when he was writing about realignment, and SMU got on the phone with the ACC and said, look, we'll handle our own financial thing for a few years. Y'all don't worry about it. And they came up with $1 billion in the blink of an eye, because you've got those oil executives sitting there in Dallas that have got basically unlimited funds. And that's what SMU has. And so while 10 years ago, SMU was a complete joke as far as football goes, because you're talking about a school in a small conference that has not been relevant since the 80s. Now in the NIL space, where you can pay recruits money, they could get better. And I think they're motivated to do that because they know what they had in the 80s and they've got a lot of money. But I still don't believe that SMU is going to become a power. I think they got into the playoff this past year because their schedule was a complete and utter joke. I do not think they had a good football team last year. That may be the elitist in me. That may be the 3 national championships I've watched with my own eyes talking, whatever. But that's how I feel. I don't think SMU is going to have a great football program moving forward. And if you're going to have to play Power 4 teams, these are the kind of Power 4 teams I'd like to play. Again, I give SMU a fighting chance of being a top 25 team year in, year out if you're going to let these oil executives pay football players. Do I think they're going to turn into Clemson? Do I think they're going to turn into Oregon? Do I think they're going to turn into Ohio State? I don't. I think LSU, if you're making me handicap, I don't even know who the coaches are going to be in 2028 and 2029. No idea. Certainly don't know any of the players. They're in 6th grade. But I think that it's likely LSU should handle its business against SMU in 2028 and 2029. So, I think it's a good scheduling move. I like it. I like the fact that it's home and home. I think it's cool to go see other campuses, other stadiums. That's a small one. I'm not sure how much of an LSU presence you can get into that little bit of stadium. But I would not be scheduling Clemson. I would not be scheduling Ohio State. I would not be scheduling Oregon. I would not be scheduling USC or Michigan or Penn State. I'd be scheduling SMU. I'd be scheduling Duke. I'd be scheduling Purdue. I'd be scheduling Arizona State. That's how I would do it. So when I saw this news today, I said, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good one. And my belief is, I can't back this up with anything. Cannot back this up with anything. But my belief is that Brian Kelly probably went to the LSU administration and said, hey, as long as I'm here, let's cut out the USC, Clemson, Florida State stuff. That's a guess. Complete guess. But I've got some semblance of something to back that up because of the SMU scheduling and because I've heard Brian Kelly talk about strength of schedule when you were looking at the playoffs last year and seeing teams like SMU and Indiana getting into the playoffs, not having beaten anybody. So I think it's a good schedule. I like it. I'm hopeful to go to Dallas and see that. It's a new campus that I've never seen. But I think it's a good schedule. I'm all for it. So LSU and SMU, 2028 in Baton Rouge, 2029 in DFW. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.